Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another interesting video. Today we are going to see how can we manipulate a format such as JSON. Okay, normally if we are given data in a table, we know how to use pandas and manipulate it. This is super easy. Sometimes, especially marketing data, could be in a different format, something like a JSON or a dictionary. Now we are going to see how we can manipulate this in Python. This could be that very good value add skill on top of your Excel, SQL, Python skills that you already have, right? So first step, as usual, I'm going to import pandas. I'm going to call it somewhere, so I'm just importing it for safety. Now we have something called as marketing, and within that, if you see in the data, there is something called as a response. Within response, there are certain values, like the source of the campaign is Google, country is India, and so on. Okay, and if you see results is a list, right? We have the square box, so it's basically a list, and it has two sets of values. One set is basically this one, so the campaign name is bags, and we have the associated clicks, impressions, cost, revenue, and orders data. Similarly, we have another set of campaign name for watches and the associated data here, right? Very straightforward, right? Now, if someone comes and asks you, hey, can you show me what is the total cost for bags, right? So for bags, if you notice, right, the cost is 900. We can actually see it, but how can we write a formula from this data and show that value properly, right? So for that, I'm going to come here and add a line. So if I say marketing, and after marketing, if I type response, right? So response is basically here. Let's see what we get. So we get whatever is within the response, right? We have the campaign source, country, campaign type, and results, right? As simple as that. Suppose I want to see the country. After the response, I can type country, right? Because country value is given here as a key. And I will get India, right? Because the value of country was obviously India, right? This is how you can access specific elements. Now I'm going to go back into the data one more time. And now I want to actually find the cost, right? Show the value 900 for bags, right? How can we do that? So I know this cost is within basically results, right? So first step, within the response, I want to access results. So I type that. Now when I say results, I get two sets of values. One set of campaign name bags and its values, campaign name watches and its values, right? So if I want to show only the first set of values, what we can do, we obviously know indexing. So if we can say 0, right, this is to access the first element. So if I say 0, that will show only the first set of values, right? Here, instead of 0, if I say 1, that will show the second set of values, which is for watches, as you see, right? In our case, we want to see the cost for bags, so I'll put the value 0 again, right? Now we have all these values. Now within this, I want to access the value for cost, so I can simply come here and put cost, right? So basically, just going to type cost here, right? As simple as that, right? And I will remove this extra box. And yeah, let me remove this as well, right? Now let's see, and we get the value, right? So what did I do? Within marketing, I access the response. Within response, I access results. There were two set of values. I wanted to access the first result, and that is given by the index 0, and within that I wanted to access the cost, right? So I got 900. So instead of cost, if I want to see the revenue, here I will change it to revenue, right? So we'll get the value 1100. That is the revenue that is given here, as you notice, right? So this is how you can manipulate something like a JSON, access the specific values. Now suppose your manager comes and asks you, hey, I want this data but in a tabular format. I want to see campaign name, revenue, and orders, right? Only these three columns. Can you do it for me? How can we proceed, right? Is it even possible to do it? So we need campaign name, revenue, and orders, both for bags as well as watches. How can we do it? I'm going to show you step by step, right? It's pretty straightforward. So I can go here. First of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a blank list, right? So I'm going to append all our calculations to this blank list. That is step number 1. Then I'm going to use a for loop, okay? So I'll say for I in range 2, because I know in this case I can take only values 0 and 1, right? Because there's just two sets of values, one for bags, one for watches, right? What I'm going to do here, I'm going to create new data, let's say like a new value, and I'm going to say basically DACT, which is like creating a dictionary. First of all, to see the campaign name, right? So I'll give a column name as campaign. I will say this is equal to, I can come back here and just copy this whole thing, right? So I want to see campaign, and campaign is nothing but actually campaign name. So instead of revenue, I'll replace it with campaign name, right? And since we want to show both sets of values, we cannot put a 0 here. I would instead put the I, right? So I will run through the loop range of 2. That means I will take values 0 and 1. So it can get values for both bags campaign as well as watches campaign, right? So this is step number 1, that is done. So now I have added the campaign, right? Now I also wanted to add the revenue. So for revenue, I can give a new name, say rev, right? And I can literally copy paste the same thing with only one small difference, right? So I'll copy paste, and for revenue, obviously I want to access the revenue value, not the campaign name value. So I'll just do that and close this box, right? So we are done with 2. We also now want to implement orders. So for the orders, I will say ord, and I will just copy paste that value again, right? But this time I don't want to access the campaign name. I rather want to access the orders value, right? So I will do that, right? So this is done. As you see, I'm accessing the campaign from the campaign name. I runs from 0 to 1, so it will show for 0 and 1, basically for bags campaign as well as watches campaign, right? Same way for revenue, and same way I'm accessing the orders value as well, right? So this is done. Now what I can do, whatever value I get in this new data, I'm going to append it to the original data that I have created here, right? Which is basically nothing but a blank list. So I'm going to do that, right? So I'll say data.append of new data, right? And I'm going to run this. Okay, so this is done. Now let us go and see what value we have been able to store in data, right? Now if you see, we get campaign name bags, revenue, orders, campaign name watches, revenue and orders, right? It's still not exactly tabular format, but we have made progress. We kind of got what we want. So now one final step, what you can do, you can say pd.data frame, right? So this is basically to convert a data frame, as this is like in a different format. So you can say pd.data frame, open the bracket and say data, right? PD is basically the pandas package. Now I run this, and if you notice, we got a nice table, right? Simple table with campaign, revenue and orders, 3 columns and values, right? So whatever we saw in a confusing format, now we have in a more straightforward format. If we cross check the values for bags, revenue is 1100, orders is 12, and that is what is here, right? 1100 revenue, orders is 12. For watches, revenue is 900, orders is 11. That is exactly what we have here, right? Now you've been able to convert the data into like a tabular formatter which your manager wanted, right? So definitely learn like small JSON manipulation, practice more, give yourself some more scenarios. Maybe if you want to show only clicks and impressions, how will this formula that you wrote change? Practice. I hope you enjoyed the video. Put the description of this code and the link in our description section itself. Please follow the channel if you like the video. I'll see you again in another video. Till then, take care. Bye.